I'm on the top fence of the jail, right?
Yeah,
and I remember looking down thinking, if I fall, I'm fucking dead, bro.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got
razor
up,
wire and that too, like.
Not yet. This was just those sharp prongs that I could see down on the floor. But anyway, I got up to that fence. I end up getting up there and, mate, basically, I'm on top of the fence. But the problem is, I'm still like 75 metres from the exit, from the perimeter. So I start creeping along that fence like this, right? Thinking I'm on my way to freedom. One of the officers, with the big turban, I'll never forget it. It's nighttime. It's like 7:30, 8 o'clock. He's seen me up on the gate, and you can just imagine. He's got straight on the radio, fucking red alert. He's called the squad, the MEU. Obviously, they've contacted the coppers. I've had to run them, man. I've had to skip through razor wire, cutting my legs to pieces, and then I launched off the top of that barrel, man, and I just, like my plan was always to get to that point and lower myself down and then hopefully just drop to freedom. But I broke my arm, like it was black and blue from my shoulder to my wrist was black, bro. So this arm is completely out of order. I'm running like a motherfucker towards Parramatta River, right? My plan was always to swim across Parramatta River, right? Shark-infested river.
Yeah.
I get to the bottom of the street. I've had to climb a couple of fences with one arm. By this time, the squad's just coming down, right? I managed to get over those fences and I dive into the river, bro. I'm bleeding. It was pitch dark, too. You couldn't see a fucking thing on the river. Behind me, I could see all their flashlights. You could hear the dogs going off their fucking head. But they couldn't get to me, bro, because I bounced a couple of other fences. Unless they started chucking dogs over the fences, I don't know if they did. Pitch dark, the river is so wide there, bro. It's like 100 metres across from there, right?
Yep.
I'm swimming like petrified. I'm thinking sharks are gonna bite me. Whole air is in the air, bro. The chopper's on its way. Water police is coming up fucking Parramatta River to search for me. By this time, I make it into the mangrove.
What's up, guys? Back again with another episode of the Tonksy Media Podcast. Today's guest needs no introduction. He's the absolute OG of addiction and recovery. He spent 17 years in the pain, hurt and misery of active heroin addiction and has lived a life from one end of the spectrum to the other. Guys, please welcome the man himself, Danny Shannon. Welcome, bro.
Thanks so much, Tonksy. Absolute pleasure to be here, mate. I'm pumped. I'm really looking forward to it, mate.
That's good, mate. Good. It's been a long time coming. You've been a guest that I've wanted to get on for a while now. So, let's put out a good message, bro, and do a ripper of a podcast, eh?
Hard man to get, eh? I've been ducking and weaving you for a little while. Only just it's like I wanted to return the favour, absolutely, and anyway, thank you, mate. Let's go. Let's give it our best.
100%, bro. No, I'm looking forward to it myself, that's for sure. So, all right, mate, let's you know the drill. Let's run it right back to the beginning. Let's give us a bit of a rundown on your childhood, your upbringing, sort of. Yeah, we'll kick her off from there, mate.
All right, brother. Just on that, how long are we looking at? 45 minutes in total or something?
45 to an hour. Yep.
Yeah, cool. And, mate, grew up, I always give a shout out to Mum. I grew up in a pretty good household, a beautiful mum, beautiful loving mum who taught me all my values and morals, who I believe I have today, you know. Also had an amazing dad who was a criminal mastermind, a jack of all trades and a master of none. He taught me everything I shouldn't know as well. He's nicknamed Shonky and he's like 81 now and he still goes by that name. He's not in the best of health, but I think it's important to, first of all, mention both of those things because today I believe, my mum certainly helped me to become the person I am today, without me even knowing, of course. And the other reason I think it's important to mention is so often when I first entered recovery, and I had 49 attempts at recovery before I got this recovery today. I'm not even going to say I got it, bro, because I think the minute you say you got it, I think you lost it, mate. So I haven't got shit, but today I am sober, clean and sober for 14 years, 2 months and 29 days. And I know that because when I jumped on live earlier, I checked my the date, but anyway, and the reason what I was going with that is that when I've entered recovery all those times, I used to compare myself a lot to other people, and let's face it, mate, some people have some fucking horrific stories, mate.
100%. Yeah.
And it's disgustingly sad, and I hear those stories on a daily basis. People who were using with them. Anyway, so nothing compared to me, but the fact is, for years I felt maybe I wasn't bad enough, which is ridiculous. It's the dumbest thing, and I say that out loud because I want anyone out there to know who might feel that same way, mate. Here's the fact. The minute I picked up drugs at the age of 14, I never stopped. And I never stopped for the 19 years, basically. I became an animal overnight. It's like from a very young age when I first picked up, the obsession and compulsion had kicked in, I knew from the first night I got drunk, stoned, and on the nitric oxide, I knew I was different to my mates,
Yeah. Go into that a little bit, sort of give us a bit of insight on exactly what you mean there, like when you say you were better than your mates,
It's quite simple, right? Like, I know you're looking for some deep, but this is why I knew I was different, right? I woke up my first night getting on it, I got drunk, stoned. So when I say drunk, I got drunk on like Stone's ginger wine. Maybe it was Fruity Lexia. No, it was Stone's ginger wine. I had pot. It was homegrown Bundaberg fucking buds, and it was nitric oxide, which was what they call them, cream bulbs, right?
Yep.
So I got smashed on all three of them. Yep. And I woke up from being like unconscious vomiting on this outdoor roller skating ring where we were having this party, me and all these other kids, and there was like broken bottles, glass, and I was one of the only people sort of left on that ring out there. There's a couple other bodies laying around, and I woke up and I thought, that was mad, Most other people had gone home and did whatever they did, but I just thought that was mad, I said, what's next? So that's kind of why I knew I was different, I guess. And I kind of put that into a bit of story too, because that's the way I remember it, and that's kind of where it all began, But basically, I wanted to do it more than the other people did. I wanted to do it harder than the other people did, and I didn't also care what happened, and yet I had this beautiful mum, but I was an asshole of a kid.
Why do you think you didn't care what would happen? Like, can you answer that?
Oh, I was reckless, bro. I was reckless. Like, for example, I think I sort of looked up to the crazy party people on movies and stuff, like I said, I want to be like that.
Yeah, okay.
I don't, for the life of me, I don't ever remember wanting to be something. Like a policeman or a fireman or for the life of me, I don't know what my childhood dream was to be. Yeah. Somewhere in amongst that beautiful childhood, that beautiful mum, I got lost probably in the trauma I say trauma, like in the story that my dad took us down. We were never, my mum and dad used to fight a lot. My dad was never around. He was always overseas. He probably, I don't know if I've ever said this out loud on podcast, he probably got 6 children running around Thailand or Philippines. He was never there for my mum. There was tiny little bits of domestic violence, but he was, I think you'd call it chauvinistic pig or something. Yeah. And far out. Like, let me say, my dad's the best. Like, he visited me in jail throughout all my using and stuff. He just was not a good role model, and my mum was beautiful again. So for some reason, I think if all that stuff played a big part in me not giving a fuck, bro.
Yeah, okay. Did you, if you don't mind me asking, did your old man did your dad have any addiction issues or anything like that?
Sure, just so you know, Tonksy, you can ask me anything, brother. Yeah, okay. There's nothing else.
Yep.
Just, Yeah, please feel really
no
comfortable
worries.
just to ask and laugh at anything I say. Like, it's all good. So, no, man. Yeah, my dad was always a compulsive gambler, but, which, by the way, just so you know, like, a drug is a drug is a drug. I honestly think compulsive gambling is probably the most putrid, insidious disease of all of them. You know, like, the damage I'd done in 19 years, my dad could do in 19 seconds or 19 minutes.
19 slaps.
So, 19 hits.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
so he definitely had that, bro, and he definitely had a criminal mind as well. So he was addicted to money, you know, getting and using and obtaining more money. And don't get me wrong, he was never rich. He's an entrepreneur at heart. He done everything from, mate, my dad, like, this is why I love him. Like, he literally made police uniforms for the police Olympics back in like 1985. He sold gallstones from cows to Australia from Philippines. He built this magic sand. You remember that magic sand stuff for kids? It was like this. He invented that, bro. But my dad should be a millionaire 100 times over, but he always fucked it up. You know, every single thing he fucked it up. And look, you know what? To be honest, and if my brothers hear this, I'm sure they would laugh at me too. But my dad, the poor bloke, he's not comprehensive anymore. He's in he had a stroke and he wouldn't understand. Well, I don't know. He can't verbally speak like that. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. What was your question? You said, my dad having a habit.
Yeah.
But my dad would. My dad smoked ice with me and one of my coes, like when he was like 65, and he'd never touched it before. He would do anything, but he never had that bug to use drugs. He would just get money, you know?
Yeah, okay, yep.
Yeah,
right, yeah. Yeah, right, okay, mate. So, all right, so you're a young, middle teen sort of lad.
16.
Starting to use, recreational drugs. When did obviously a lot of crime and stuff. Is that sort of when that's the crime side of things started? And
it definitely started straight away, bro. I started robbing high school canteens. I used to skate, right? And this happened in Bundaberg, and I can say this because I got pinched for this at the age of like 15.
Yep.
I broke into Kepnock High or something like that, and they raided my grandma's garage and they found some equipment in there. But anyway, my point is, I did start doing crime immediately. It wasn't to get like heroin at the time; it was to swap for pot, and it was for fun. But just like where you're going with that, by the time I was 16, I'd already used heroin. I picked up. This is important. The day I picked up heroin is a day I'll never forget, mate. I was sitting in this yellow Gemini. I remember it was Greg's Gemini. Greg was a bit of Greg's a fucking copper. I never thought of that. I wonder if he ever follows me. I'm sitting in Greg's Gemini.
So Greg was a mate of yours,
put the
correct?
two things together, huh?
So this Greg was a mate of yours at the time?
Yeah, and I still consider him a mate.
Yeah.
Him and his partner, who's also a copper, watched me deteriorate over the years, and they just had to detach, you know. But
yeah.
Anyway, we're sitting in this yellow Gemini, and my mate, who's my co-offender, Brad, who I never mention either, but I should give a shout out to these guys. Poor Brad, I don't think in any state these days, but he said to me, Danny, let's get some heroin. And I thought, fuck. I remember thinking, I couldn't say no, but I remember thinking this is a bad idea, mate. And I remember he went into Rob's house, and Rob came out and jumped in the car, and we were off to Cabra to have my first hit of heroin, mate. I was in this dingy little flat in Cabramatta. This fella by the name of Wok was a drug dealer, and he injected me with heroin for my very first time. And that day, if anything had started to go downhill yet, it was nothing compared to the shit that was about to happen from that day, mate. From that day onwards, I never missed a day of being stoned on heroin until I got clean in 2009, bro. So I was 16. I wasn't even 16. I was almost 16. I was injected by heroin, by Wok, and I always like to say this. I later went on to do jail with Wok.
Okay.
So like he ended up coming undone as well. But yep. And mate, that was the beginning of the end.
Right.
Basically, that's where shit started to come undone, brother.
So did you continue to use needles from that day on, or?
Yeah, I don't think I ever. The only time I ever smoked it again or swallowed it was when I was pinched in custody and I was hanging out and I had gear on. I had to. I didn't even have a lighter, so I had to snort it. I think I did, but yeah, from the day I used needles, I never ever. And this every IV user would say the same.
Yeah, 100%.
You're never going to have it any other way.
No, I agree, mate. As you know, I've been down the path myself, so I 100% agree. Yeah.
Mate, okay. By the time I was 16, I was locked up in boys' homes. Nothing drastic. I had a whole bunch of thousands of dollars of first instant warrants, which back then they'd lock you up for $100 a day. That was because I was not paying ever for train tickets and I started getting caught driving unlicensed. I never had license. I only got my license at the age of like 30, 39 or 40. I was disqualified for 40 years. When I entered recovery in 2009, I had a 40-year disqualification, and 5 years into my recovery, I was able to get that quashed and then get my license back. But Anyway, I was in boys' homes at 16. By 18, I was locked up in Parramatta Prison for my 18th birthday. And pretty much the next 10 years, I spent the majority of that time between 18 and 28 locked up. I got on the methadone at the age of 21, bro. I knew by that time, I'd heard about methadone. I knew a little bit about it. I knew that I had a life of prison ahead of me, right? And what I knew by that time as well is I kept getting pinched and I'd hang out in the cells like a dog, hang out sick from heroin withdrawals for days. And I heard if I got on the methadone, that wouldn't happen anymore. And to a big point, that's true. Like, it might take you 24 hours to get dosed once you get locked up, but within 24 hours, generally, unless you're stuck at the SPC, Surrey Hills Police Centre for 4 days without getting dosed, but generally you're going to be dosed and stoned again. So methadone, mate, I was on a pretty big dose of methadone. Methadone was my security blanket. It was like a constant stoned from the age of 21 to 33. Yeah, bro, in that time, there was a lot of messy shit, bro. I was a messy, I'm going to say a junkie. I was a fucking junkie, bro. Like, I would use dirty needles in the back flats of Cabramatta. I'd flush them 3 times with water because I was too fucking impatient to stop at the chemist and get clean bits, bro. Like, I was reckless,
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever said that out loud.
I know.
Either.
Look, I still to this day, mate, know a lot of people that are still like that, and it's not an uncommon thing in that world, It's as you'd agree, it's like, once you've got your fucking gear, you want it in your fucking arm there and then, like.
Even shooting up, like, so I could never wait to a decent spot. And I've had coppers banging on my window, of the car, of a stolen car, waiting, like, while I'm shooting up, and I just would not do anything until I get that hit in me. I've had coppers wrestle me, and what I'd do, here's my fucking tactic. I'd find the most open space if there was nowhere to hide, and I'd sit in the middle of it, and I'd shoot up there so I could see every angle, like, and that's what I was like, bro. I'd do it in stairwells. Cabra back in those days, man. Do you ever do the Cabra seat?
No, I've never actually been through there, no.
I've never really. I mean, I'm sure it's out there, but Cabramatta, bro. Every single person near me would be selling caps, heroin, right?
Yep.
You could not walk from the train station. You could not, I swear to God, you could not walk 50 meters without being asked 20 times like this.
The nod. Yep.
You couldn't, mate, you would get asked non-stop. So I guess where I'm going with that is the flats, man. The flats in Cabramatta were consumed with fucking needles everywhere, bro. Like every single flat, in Cabramatta within the first few hundred meters of the station. Is always from the station because that's where all the fucking addicts who come in were covered in fucking needles, water.
Around what stretch of years?
With blood in them.
Yeah.
Huh?
Around like what stretch of years was this?
Yeah, we're talking early 90s. All the way through the 90s. And I imagine at the end of the 80s it was the same, but early 90s, well, I picked up where I'm 70, born in 75. So, yeah, man, exactly 1990. And heroin was rife, bro. Like, it was fucking everywhere. And it was cheap as, too. like, you get 2 caps, which is 2 points for $50. And, you know, like, but that soon, got more and more. But, yeah, back in those days, mate, Cabra was fucking the Wild West, bro. And, you know, the gangs were around there, too. There was a lot of illegal gambling establishments. I think they used to play Manila. I only know this from what I learned in jail. I got into Manila in jail, but and 41. But yeah, man, Cabra was fucking crazy, bro. It was insane. People were dying everywhere in flats, overdoses. You know. Yeah, bro. That was anyway. That was what my whole using was like. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, mate. Well, look, I really want to hear about your criminal journey. You know, like what was it like when you first went to jail? And you know, what was your jail experience like? And
yeah, sure.
And there's a story that I want you to spit as well, mate.
Oh, of course, yeah. Didn't even think of that, mate. So. Yeah, my first time in prison, Parramatta Prison, bro. It might have been my second time, but I remember it as my first time. It was in the very early days. I was very inexperienced. I was in reception, right?
Around
reception
what age?
had 3 cells. Hey?
So around what age were you?
18.
Okay.
18, right? Reception had 3 cells. And I know I've been in lots of jails. A lot of them are like this. So you got the outdoor cells, right? You're covered, but this like you're open to front of you is the reception. Now the first lot of cells is where they first chuck in off the truck. Then they move you through to the next lot where they then take you through to get processed, and then you come back out the other side and end up in the last one. Well, old mate coming through from the first side, I was in the last cells. I've been processed. He gave me 3 cigarettes. There's an empty pack of cigarettes with 3 bungers in there. He said, "Can you hold this for me? I'll get them off you when I'm finished," right? Well, I'm pretty sure I had one straight away, and then the other 2 got taken off me by, well, that's something like that. Like the guy said, "Come on, let's smoke," and the boys in my cell.
Yeah. I know what jail's like, yeah.
They were gone. Yeah, they were gone, right?
Yep.
And I wasn't really fussed. I wasn't fussed. I'm a mad cat. Smoking someone else's smoke. Well, I was taken off to my cells in, I forget what wing it was. It was like the first wing in Parramatta jail on the other side. I was taken in there, thrown into a cell, you know, vinyl plastic mattress, the blankets. Mate, I used to, back then, I thought it was cool. It's crazy. Yeah. I don't remember ever being traumatized by that stuff. But anyway, next morning, bro, I'm coming out the gates, and old mate who passed me the smokes, he was already out. Our wing hadn't been let out. It was probably like a reception wing or something, and they kept us in for a bit longer. He's banging at the gate, asking for the smokes, right? And so I'm there. I'm on the inside, and I don't know what I said, but I think I said they got taken off me, or I lost them, or something like that.
Yeah, yep.
Well, the minute I opened the chief opened the fucking gate, it was on, bro. I got bashed. Well, man, I didn't even see it coming. I didn't even know it was going to happen, but I got attacked just by him.
Yeah,
it was just by one guy. So I got bashed out the front of the fucking gate. And pretty much that was it. From that, there was no more drama from that. I tried to fight. I didn't have much of a chance. I certainly didn't see it coming. So that was my first experience with jail, bro. And look, over the years, mate, for some reason, Tonksy, I always had this ability. Now, I'm saying this clearly. I was never a hard, tough, guy at all. I haven't got the heart for that. But
yeah.
I was always in with the hard, tough guys. I was always not the hardest, but the ones just under the hardest.
Yep.
And all I'm saying by that is I was always kind of able to make mates with. I've also got into fights with some of those same mad people. Because of stupid jail politics or me getting potting on the visit and not whacking up or whatever. But I always managed to get through without being scathed. I witnessed somebody get shivved in the stomach who died like on the spot at Water Jail. I've witnessed many pretty brutal bashings. I've been fucking mate, I've had my fair share of drama over shit, man, just over bullies wanting to just to pick on the weaker guy, well, one in particular, I'll share it. I don't often share this, but I was in this 4-hour cell and I got dragged off to court one morning at 5 a.m. And when I got home that night, old mate, I know exactly who he is, by the way. Old mate accused me of stealing his smokes on the way out when I got back that night, right? He's old mate's a drug dealer as well. He sells pot, sticks in the wing.
Yep.
And anyway, they ended up so he's got his two other little Muppets in that cell. The other, because it's a 4-hour cell, the other two Muppets are just doing. I know who they are too, by the way.
Yep.
I never forget fucking all three of these cunts.
Yep.
Excuse me, but they ended up tying me up. So they want me just to admit they stole the smokes, right? Well, I didn't fucking take the smoke, bro. I'm not going to admit to stealing the smokes. They end up bashing me, tying me up. To cut to the chase, I got touched up for a good hour, just trying to bash me just to admit that I stole the smokes, right? Which, bro, I didn't do it, right? So I'm not going to admit it.
Yeah.
They've ended up got plastic on the floor because they're going to cut my throat, right? This is the narrative, right? They put all this plastic underneath me. He's got the razor blade out. I'm tied up to a chair. I could have got out of that tied up, but they were bashing me every time I moved.
Yeah.
So I just kind of, for some reason, bro, I knew that he wasn't going to cut my throat, right? Because I knew he knew I didn't take his fucking smokes, right? So, mate, and this is, look, 2 hours later, bro, by the way, I could have hit the fucking, there's a button in the cell to buzz up to the street. If you hit that and nobody answers on the other end, someone will come, bro. Like, that's generally the way it works, you know?
Yeah, but also if you hit that, then you're also fucking labelled then in prison, aren't you,
Oh, of course, yeah. So, yeah, and anyway, I probably would never have fucking made it. But anyway, 2 hours later, man, when he's just about to cut my throat, he's got the blade up against my throat. He said, fucking tell me now. They'll give me a hook in the ribs. And I said, I fucking didn't take your smokes, right? Well, mate, next minute they've taken the fucking, it was like this sick sort of good mates now, end up blowing me out. We got stoned on cones. But yeah, that motherfucker, man. Imagine how many people he done that to, tormentors, and terrorized. And I was the young,
vulnerable.
Weaker, and I was only on escort in that jail from another jail. So anyway, he just took advantage, mate. That's the shit that goes down in jail every single day, bro.
100%. It's a fucking horrid place. It really is.
One other one, Tonksy. Let me give this while we're on the fucking. My side of the wing. Say there was A and B. I think it was C wing, but there was A and B side. One of them had ripped me off, and I'd started talking a bit of smack that I'm going to fucking bash him after muster. Well, the message got straight over to his wing, and his whole wing was G'ing him up against my whole wing G'ing me up. They coach me. They're doing fucking boxing lessons and all that, right? And straight after muster, as soon as they opened the doors, and this is where they fucked up, man, because every single inmate followed me and him around to the back of the thing, right? We got around there, and by the time we got around there, it was on. We've thrown a couple of punches and the screws are fucking on top of us, man, because they've seen every single inmate go to the back of the fucking. So yeah, mate. So I copped a black eye from that. He got a good one on me in the first hit, but yeah, and I've had man, other ones where I've been knocked out, man. I was never the victor really in jail, bro.
Yeah,
I never really won, but I always kept fucking having a crack, you know?
Yeah, fucking oath.
Yeah, anyway. So, yeah, that's my jail experience, bro.
Yeah.
Putrid, man. In 2001, there's something that you probably wanted to ask me. Did you want to go ahead and ask me something?
Nah, you're right. You're right, bro. Keep rolling on. Yeah, I want you to get into the Silverwater story eventually, but yeah.
No, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. I'm there.
Yep.
I'm there in 2001. I'm in Old Silverwater. It's a medium security prison. There's big fucking walls around. So I want to state right now that not that many people have escaped from that jail, right? Well, it was the 6th of February. It was the 6th of February, and it was my girlfriend's birthday, right? I had also been participating in this religious program called Kairos. It's run in a lot of the jails here in New South Wales. I don't know if they got it up there in Queensland. And what that meant would be on a Wednesday evening, I'd attend this the visiting area with my cellmate, as it happened, and we oh fuck, I didn't get back to him today. And anyway, we would do this religious thing. Now I used to go because they had good coffee and biscuits, bro. I'm no fucking religious guy. I believe in God. Certainly God's a big part in my journey today, but it's certainly not religious of any kind. But the chaplain was a legend too. Peter Baines, bless him, he has passed away now, and his daughter heard me on a podcast. That's a whole nother story, but it's quite beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway, that day, I said to Pat Marcelli, I said, listen, I had money outside. I had like 30 grand. It was just burning a hole in my pocket, bro.
Yep.
And I'd spent about 2 years in that jail. There was one spot in that whole jail where the 24-foot fence had a big barrel, right? So, and it always leans inward. So it's impossible to get up a fence because you have to somehow get over the barrel this way.
Yep.
But there's one spot in that jail where the barrel went this way, and there was another joining fence where the barrel had to lead the other way. So there was a way up, man, and that way up actually connected to the visiting area. It was the only spot in the whole jail that the two barrels met like that. And mate, at the end of the visit, at the end of the Kairos, the religious program, while everyone was inside, holding hands, saying a prayer, I've ducked out the back, bro. And I've scaled this fence, man. Back then, I only weighed like 65 kilos. I was quite agile. I'm only 24. Yep. I used these like pieces of metal from the garbage bin to lock into they're kind of like rivets all the way up the fence. I managed to scale that fence. I got up to the top, which is quite fucking high, by the way. And as I was trying to maneuver my way up into the barrel, and to be honest, I don't know how the fuck I did it, bro. It was like adrenaline. But I managed to get up on that barrel. And as I took that last leap with my arm, I remember looking down, and there's, as you know, like there's dangerous fences with, because we're way above the internal jail now. I'm on the top fence of the jail, right?
Yeah.
And I remember looking down thinking, if I fall, I'm fucking dead, bro.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got
razor
up,
wire and that too, like.
Not yet. This was just those sharp prongs that I could see down on the floor.
Okay,
but anyway, I got up to that fence. I end up getting up there, and mate, basically I'm on top of the fence. But the problem is I'm still like 75 meters from the exit, from the perimeter. I'm still in the middle of the jail. Yep. So I start creeping along that fence like this, right? Thinking I'm on my way to freedom. And Mr. Singh, one of the officers, with the big turban, I'll never forget it. It's nighttime. It's like 7:30, 8 o'clock. It's just dusk. It's going dark. He's seen me up on the gate, and you can just imagine this cunt must have shit himself, right? He's got straight on the radio, fucking red alert. He's called the squad, the MEU. Obviously, they've contacted the coppers, who have contacted whoever else. I've had to run then, man. I've had to skip through razor wire towards the razor wire wasn't until you got to about 3 meters from the perimeter. I've had to skip through this razor wire, cutting my legs to pieces, and then I launched off the top of that barrel, man, and I just, like my plan was always to get to that point and lower myself down and then hopefully just drop to freedom, but I had to run and jump off that thing, man, and I broke my arm, like it was black and blue from my shoulder to my wrist. It was black, bro. So this arm is completely out of order. I've run down Hawker Street. By this time, the squad is on the top of the street coming down after me. I'm running like a motherfucker towards Parramatta River, right? My plan was always to swim across Parramatta River, right? Shark-infested river.
Yeah.
But I just, fuck it, I'm a good swimmer, but now I'm bleeding as well.
Yeah.
I get to the bottom of the street. I've had to climb a couple of fences with one arm. By this time, the squad's just coming down, right? I've got a head start. I managed to get over those fences and I dive into the river, bro. I've got one arm. I'm swimming across Parramatta River with one arm. I'm bleeding. Mate, the adrenaline is running right,
I
bro.
can imagine.
Like, it was pitch dark too. You couldn't see a fucking thing on the river. Behind me, I could see all their flashlights. You could hear the dogs going off their fucking head, but they couldn't get to me, bro, because I bounced a couple of other fences, and unless they started chucking dogs over the fences, I don't know if they did. They couldn't. Anyway, I'm in the middle of the river by this time, right? Pitch dark. The river is so wide there, bro. It's like 100 meters across from there, right?
Yep.
I'm swimming like petrified. I'm thinking sharks are gonna bite me. Anyway, by this time, Pol Air is in the air, bro. The chopper's on its way. Water police is coming up fucking Parramatta River to search for me. By this time, I make it into the mangroves on the other side. Right now, this is where it gets even better. I'm in mud, bro, up to my neck. Like I'm in this sludge. It's just my neck out of the water, man. And I'm clawing my way through this mud and mangroves. So you can imagine all these tree roots and shit in the mud are cutting my body up even more to pieces. And anyway, bro, the water police are just there. They're just 20 meters away. They got the fucking spotlight out. They can't see me, mate, because I'm in this shrub. Like, they can't see shit. The helicopter's above me. They can't see shit. And, mate, I made my way to freedom. Probably about 300 meters crawling through that mud. I made my way and come out on Parramatta Speedway in this old demolition graveyard where they used to have a demolition derbies and and things. And I learned from the police report after the fact that I ended up taking this little thing called Duck Creek. Now, I don't know what Duck Creek is, but they shut down Parramatta River, thinking they're going to get me for sure. They can't miss me. Well, no, I'm off up Duck Creek, and bro, I basically managed to get it. I crossed the 8-lane highway, James Roos Drive. It was raining that night. I had jail greens on. I was covered in mud, but it was glorious, Tonksy. It's like the rain is washing away the mud each step I take towards freedom, and I'm trying to steal a car, which that was always my plan, but I couldn't fucking get a car.
Yeah.
And I've got money waiting at my girlfriend's house, and a cab, like this mysterious, probably missed the thing again, but a different one. Picked me up, taxi, and I said, yeah, bro, Smithfield, where my missus was waiting for me, because I'd said to her on the phone, I rang her like about 4 o'clock that day. I was like, this is a phone call from the Remand and Reception Centre. If you do not wish to take this call, please hang up now. I said, hey, Michelle. I said, happy birthday, babe. I said, if I could come home tonight, it's like I wanted her permission. I said, if I could come home tonight, that'd be okay. And I'm sure she just rolled her eyes. Yeah, Danny. Sure, mate. And so I arranged for her to get some money. She had my money, by the way, but I arranged for her to make sure she had some money on her.
Yep.
And next minute, I rocked up in a taxi out the front of her house, like, and she's come out, man, just in shock, as you could imagine, man. Like, I've been locked up for a while. Here's Danny out the front in a taxi. After escaping from prison, we picked her up. We went straight to Cabramatta, of course, right?
Yep.
But about 20 minutes later, the police squad and all that raided my mum's house, my dad's house, and her family house, that house where she was at. But I was fucking scot-free, bro. I made it to Perth.
So from Sydney to Western Australia?
Yeah, from Sydney to Perth. Went to Cabra that night, used copious amounts of heroin, made it to Perth, and 6 days later, on Valentine's Day, and I always say what a romantic story this was, I got my ass dragged outside of the hotel naked by the poolside and stomped on because I was resisting. I'm sure it was worth it. I was resisting arrest.
So how
and then I was.
do you know
Yeah,
how they obviously there was a nationwide news thing out on you. Obviously, how did
the
they?
story goes on, bro. It's an epic story, but I know exactly how because I'm a dickhead because I thought warrants wouldn't carry interstate, right? Which,
Okay.
by the way, they don't. But here's what happened. I'm on the methadone, right? I'm a fucking genius. I escaped from jail on 120 mils of methadone, right? While I was in Perth, I bought 50 loaded syringes of this shit heroin they call home bake. They didn't even have heroin on the streets that I could find anyway. So I bought all these syringes that I was just having one after another because I've got these hanging out like a motherfucker.
Yep.
Michelle, was pregnant at the time with my son.
Okay,
So my son came on this trip with us as well, and she was also on the methadone. And I thought, you got to have your methadone, Chog. Got the baby. I was a responsible father, I said, you need to get your methadone. So we got her on at the clinic. Well, New South Wales detectives have been flagged that Michelle's got her methadone, and they were happy to jump on the fucking plane and come and fucking haul my ass back
right.
to Sydney,
Yeah, I've always wondered. I've heard that story a couple of times now. I've always wondered how the fuck did they catch you over there? Like,
it wasn't hard, bro. It wasn't hard. Like, not only that, I don't know if it was that or we had to book the accommodation in her name too. So I was I was never a clever criminal, Tonksy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so anyway, mate, you've gone back to jail, obviously, after that. Did you get extra time and stuff? Like,
yeah, all right, good. Not many people ask me that story, and to be honest, all right, so you're not going to believe it. I'm back. I'll share a bit about this story. It's crazy, man. I'm in Goldsmith, which is back in the full maxo, right? I'm an E-classo now, right?
Yep.
I'm in Goldsmith 14, and my Coey, because I actually escaped with a fella by the name of Pagey. I don't often bring him up, but because we're going to this story, I'll bring it up. He messaged me this morning, funny enough. A bit of a coincidence. And he always says to me, Danny, next time you're fucking in the media, you need to tell them about me. So here we go, Paige. This one's for you. Anyway, he was in Fordwick 6, which is these are the wings, right? And we both escaped. So we're both pinched. We've both got E-classos. He gets a message up to me saying, Danny, through the sweeper, he said, Danny, we're pleading not guilty, right? Paige is quite smart. He's a big jailhead. He's done so much jail.
Yep.
He said, we're pleading not guilty. Well, I'm going, what's this cunt talking about? Next thing you know, he's managed to get me transferred from Goldsmith down to his wing, right? So me and Paige are 2 out again now on the other side of the jail. So we've escaped from old Silverwater, and now we're 2 out again over in the Maxo bit again, right? And he comes up with this plan. Oh, it's ridiculous, bro. But what happened was he got interviewed by Leppington police just before we escaped, right, over this murder blue. Now, we came up with this story and we pleaded this in court, that because of that interview, because he got interviewed for like days in the jail. Anyway, because of that interview, we said that I said that I felt like my life was in danger because people thought that he was involved in something that he shouldn't have been. And I said that I had to escape. I thought I was going to get hurt. And that's why we escaped. And here's the thing. Like, that would never have worked. But Peter Baines, that chaplain I talked about before, bro, this is the most incredible bit. He came into court and testified and lied. All right, maybe he didn't lie. Maybe I convinced him that I'd said this to him. But he came into court and said that I had gone to him with my concerns and he didn't report it. So because of that, bro, I got 21 days for the sentence. I got an extra 21 days for escaping. And the moral to that story is I literally partied for 7 days. I spent about $15,000 on home-baked heroin. I lived the dream for 6 days or 7 days, and I got an extra 21 days. So it was literally worth it, bro.
Yeah.
The escape was absolutely worth it, mate.
You know, and it's an iconic story now, bro. You know, it's like it's been told on a lot of podcasts and stuff, and it's it definitely grabs the ear of you know.
Well, Tonksy, by the way, man, I always skim over that story now, because it's been out there so much. But you've got me in a really good mood, bro. And I also know these days that it's the fact. It's my story. I sometimes don't like to plug into it because I'm all about the positive shit now.
Oh, 100%.
I was in prison. I was imprisoned in my own addiction for so long. And so many other people are out there listening, and I feel like, that same prison is what addiction is, bro. And, like today I can help people get out of prison with the work that I do in the community and, Encapsulator.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I hope we can jump onto. But, bro.
We will, definitely, mate. Yeah.
So, bro, look, mate, in 2009, Tonksy, so that's kind of my addiction was, I'm just a garden variety fucking heroin addict who was a fucking animal. I would use dirty needles. I'd use dirty fucking water. I had no regard for my life. Or, mate, I did have for other people, actually. I'd never been charged with any violent stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm a softie at heart. I've been able to always connect with the roughest and toughest fucking bullheadiest people and always sort of, I don't know, man, skim through. I wouldn't say get looked after, but I've always been able to charm people, mate. You know?
Mate, definitely. You've had a huge, and I've told you this before, but you've had a huge impact on my recovery journey too, mate.
Man.
Yeah, no, you definitely have. Just to see how you can speak in such depth about, how rough your addiction was. You'd use dirty needles. Like, not many people will own up to that, even if they did do it. But then to talk about how much you love to help people, and I'm sure it has an impact on a lot of recovering addicts, mate. It's you're definitely an icon and an OG in that field. Yeah.
Bro, but look, on that note, right? So yes, through my storytelling on social media, I have built there's 160 on Sober Score, there's 120 on Danny Shannon, there's like 50,000 on TikTok, 6,000 or 7,000 on LinkedIn. I have built quite a fucking brand and following, right? So because of that, here's one thing that happened, right? When I started doing this, bro, and it's okay, but when I started doing this, everyone, and I just worked out this last night. Last night I spent 2 hours sitting next to Gary Jubilant. I went out to Jeffrey Morgan's 50th birthday. It was a surprise birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And I was sitting next to Gary Jubilant for the whole 2 hours. He's a former police homicide
I know Gary Jubilant.
Who's very well known. Well, me and him spent a couple of hours fucking getting, and we were already mates anyway. Like, Gary's an absolute legend and a champion for supporting people just like me who are doing good stuff. He goes way out of his way. He came on my podcast. He came and sat with me right here. I said, we'll just do it online. He said, Danny, why don't I just come to your house and we'll do it live, bro?
Yeah.
I thought, like, he's a champion.
Yeah,
anyway,
awesome.
He had this long chat. And what I discovered last night talking to him, funny enough, me and him have a lot of similarities. Every person who was behind me when I had 11 years sobriety, right? I was quite, I don't know why this is. I'm just spitting facts here, right? I was I liked, I had a lot of people who liked me in the fellowship in NA and AA. But ever since I started telling stories, it's like all of those people kind of have, well, here's what I know. All the people now in my life are people from after that fact.
Yeah.
Like, people in the online community are ridiculously supportive, brother. My whole house, right? I shit you not. Up there on that mantelpiece is merchandise, cups, crystals, stickers. People have sent me gifts in the PO box. People have walked in through my fucking door on my 14th birthday. By the way, I jumped up and grabbed my baseball bat because I thought, who the fuck is this? It was one of my team members, one of my supporters. Come surprise me for my 14th birthday with a couple of other people, man. Like, the friendships I've made, and also apparently the lives have changed. And I know that because I get messages every single day from people who say, Danny, and I never say this out loud, but they literally say, Danny, because of you, I've seen the light and I've changed my life. Today I got a message sharing that she was like 4 days sober and she's never been sober. She said her face is starting to look better.
Wow.
She's looking forward to spending time with her family over Christmas. And she reckons it's because if it wasn't for me sharing those stories, and I don't even generally speak to these people. I answer every single message with an audio message, every single message I get, and I get thousands, bro. I answer every single one with an audio message, but often it's one message. But then months later, they'll come back saying, Danny, thank you so much for doing this and that. And mate, all I do is tell the truth, bro. I just fucking tell the truth,
bro. I think it's a big part of it is your personality. You know, the way you come across. You're just this happy, jolly, fucking goofy sort of guy that just can grab somebody. You know, and it's like, and you definitely did me, mate. You know, it's like you make people laugh. You know, and the way you talk about your stories, you throw humor into it, and it's like. Yeah, it's definitely that's a big part of what it is. It's the way you come across, your personality, 100%.
I think the most important part, just for anyone out there wanting to go on a content journey or a creation journey, people who are out there who want to share your message, and Tonksy, I'm just throwing this in because it's probably 25% of the messages I get is people asking me, Danny, how do I get a job with a criminal record? That's a big one. Second one is, how do I start sharing? How do I help people? I've come so far. I want to share my story. So for those people, what I would say is my biggest gift, like with you, I don't really know you that well. We have had a conversation. Is that I love that I said to you, and I said this intentionally, ask me anything, Braden, because I want you just to be as comfortable as we can.
Yeah.
The best way to connect is by being as honest and raw and authentic, and holding back your story is not helping anybody. So
that's exactly right, yeah. Yep.
And just share your honest. And people often say, I could never do that. Well, by doing that, I have empowered myself and thousands, I'm going to even say millions of people, because one of my most epic video is me sitting in the rain, right? That one video. It's had over 40 million, probably double that views. And funny thing, every single person that I've ever spoken to through my direct messages has seen that video, mate. And they all remember it. And for some reason, I didn't even speak in that video, but for some reason that video changed my life forever, bro. Like that video is what built my whole social media. So if you're out there and you want to, and don't think that was my first video, guys. That was probably my 150th video.
Yeah.
But I cracked the code without even knowing it, just by making something raw and authentic, me sitting in the summer rain, mate.
Yeah, I know the one, mate. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, bro.
It's brilliant, mate. Look, Dan, we're coming. We've got about 15, 20 minutes left. I want to know. I want you to talk about, you know, and your turning point, when the day that you made that decision to take this path instead of continuing down that path.
Yeah. Thanks, bro. I get carried away.
You're right, bro.
Not carried away. No, good one, Tonksy. So, mate, Christmas Day 2009, my life changed forever, bro. It wasn't my first day clean. I was about 60 days clean, but that first 60 days means nothing. I'd done that time after time, you know. I did start to do things different from day one. I started writing a journal. I wrote down 5 things I was grateful for every day, hanging out like a motherfucker. And I also wrote something I did good today and something I could do better tomorrow. So that's my checkup from the neck up. It's my little personal inventory that I came up with, you know?
Yep.
And I mean, I'm sure it's been done before, but that's what I started doing. But that, I still had the obsession and compulsion to get drugs, man. I was still sick, bro. But that Christmas, the 25th of December, Christmas Day, I went home to visit my family on a day leave from rehab. And, mate, I got there. I'm sitting around the family table, surrounded by family members who I had hurt, stole, robbed. I was full of shame and guilt. That day I left there with a bit of cash because I probably got some money off someone, some sucker. giving me money because Danny was always a fucking leech.
Yep.
It's all I was, mate, in my addiction, you know. I'd suck the life out of anybody, bro. And that day I left my family's house, I said, fuck this, man. I can't do this, man. I'm so full of shame. I felt sick, man. And I said, that's it. I'm getting on. And I stood at the turning point that day, bro. I was at King's Cross. Actually, I was at Town Hall. To my right was King's Cross. To my left was the bus that took me back to rehab, bro. And that day, for the very first time in my life, I was about to get on. I knew 100% I could get on. I changed my mind that day, man. For the very first time ever, I thought to myself, I thought of the consequences. You know, I just came from my mum and my son. And I thought, if I use, I'm going to be dead. I'm going to be back in prison, or I'm going to be back in rehab. I've got 49 other attempts at that. I know that's the case, but what happens if I go and get on that bus on the other side of the road? And that day I made a different decision. For the first time in my life, I did not pick up that next drug. I got on the bus, mate, and look, for the next couple of days, it was crazy anxiety. I thought I'd relapse because I knew I was going to.
Yeah.
I was so close. But, mate, about 3 days later, the obsession is like I never knew this at the time, but it just left me, bro. And I have never come close to picking up a substance from that day. And that was Christmas Day was 14 years ago this year, mate. Bro, and I went on to finish that rehab. I went to halfway houses for 4 years, bro. My first 4 years, I milked the system hard, bro.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, I was fucking clever because through doing that, I ended up buying a house when I was 6 years clean, mate. The first fucking person in my family ever to buy a house. And I just worked my ass off, bro. I got jobs. I started doing 12-step fellowship meetings every day, twice a day. I always put my recovery first. I went on to study. I became a fucking case manager at a rehab. I ended up completing 10-year career working in drug and alcohol. I've traveled the world.
Unreal.
Mate, I did this all because of recovery, mate. All I fucking did, bro, is I didn't use and I continued working really, really hard on myself. I started to identify all my problems. Every time I'd have a problem, and I had lots. And I got myself into a lot of trouble in recovery as well. Like, my behaviors didn't stop, mate.
Okay.
I was sleeping around. I was causing drama. I was stealing. I was fucking, I was hurting people. But, mate, when the pain gets enough, you start to look at these behaviors, and I would speak about it. I'd always front up, mate. If I'd done something wrong, I would front up. I'd sit up the front wherever I was, and I'd man up, mate. And I say man up, sorry, I don't mean to bridge up about that, but I'd front up.
Yeah,
And
I know what you mean.
As hard as it was, nothing ever mattered if I just kept turning up, bro.
Yeah.
And that's my message, you know, like just keep fucking turning up and doing the right thing one day at a time, mate. The shit fight leaves me, and I've had plenty more shit fights. I've kind of got one going on at the moment, but I love a bit of pain, bro. Like from pain comes growth, yeah?
Yeah.
The more pain you suffer, the better you fucking are, mate, and the more you grow. So, mate, about halfway into my 14 years, I was about 6 years clean. I was full of gratitude. I just celebrated a milestone. I was sitting there reflecting on my journey, and I thought to myself, I wonder what I was like when I first got clean, you know? What was I thinking? How was I feeling? And I came up with this idea. By the way, I'm a very nostalgic person. I take photos wherever I go today, and I always have.
Yep.
And I'm also always share those photos with people on their birthdays. I'm just this really fucking, I want to make people happy. It's just what I do, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And that day I thought I'm going to record a video message to my future self for my 10-year birthday, hopefully if I make it that far clean. And when I started recording that video message, immediately I thought, this is magic, man. This is really therapeutic. This is me talking to my future self. I thought, you know what, I'm going to get some other people to participate in this experiment. And I did about 200 people. I was connected with a lot of people back then. And every single person that recorded that video to their future self said, fuck, Danny, that was amazing, That was beautiful. It was therapeutic. And I came up with this idea to start this product called ENCAPSULATOR. It was a video time capsule which started off. I did this mad trip to America where I met all these entrepreneurs in the streets of fucking LA to New York and everywhere in between, and they're all on the hustle, bro. Every single one of them. No one gets fucking money from the government like I milked the government all my life.
Yeah.
And they've all got little hustles, and they inspired me to start ENCAPSULATOR, which is why I've got New York here, because, man, honestly, my ENCAPSULATOR was born right there in New York. The concept was born there, and made today I'm the founder of this incredibly unique and innovative video journaling program called ENCAPSULATOR. We've got 25 programs. It's heavily focused around addiction recovery because it's what I'm an expert in. I've now been able to take my techniques that I've used in my recovery, and I'm able to share them with people in this really cool, unique video format where you choose a program. The latest program is called Recovery with Danny Shannon. Yep. You'll choose that program. You'll be given an introduction from me, and we've got a whole heap of big celebrity recovery people doing their programs at the moment as well. You'll get an introduction, then you'll hit record on your first. There's 7 different activities in my program. The first activity is around identifying your recovery or your addiction. The second activity is about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. This is my journey. I take you through all the steps that I really struggle with throughout my recovery, and I've captured what worked for me, and I get you starting to talk about those things on video. So you record your video on your phone. It's available on iOS and Android, ENCAPSULATOR.
Yep.
It's free. It's free to download and to use a whole bunch of our programs, and you'll start answering questions that come up on screen, which will take you basically on my journey or a journey of personal development and discovery, mate. And as you continue progressing through each activity, you're moving towards your goal. And basically, when you finish the program, give yourself a bit of a pat on the back, and hopefully you've learned a whole heap of bunch of tips, tricks, and hacks on how to plug into the higher forces of gratitude recovery. And in this case, the Recovery with Danny Shannon program, hopefully you've learned a whole bunch of things that have helped me keep me accountable and motivated. Lastly, Tonksy, on that thing, what our platform really provides, more importantly than anything, is a safe place for you to start exploring and express yourself without any fear of judgment. When we see a counselor or a therapist, we always have a mask. Yeah, I don't care who you are. You're never truly authentic. That's my own opinion anyway, right?
No, 100%, I agree, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what ENCAPSULATOR does, once you get used to it, is it starts to give you the confidence to speak about anything you want. It's completely private and confidential. Nobody sees your videos. And the idea is that once you say something out loud once, a problem shared is a problem halved, brother. And even more importantly, once you've shared it out loud once, it takes away some of the power of it, and you are way more likely to say it again, and even more importantly, seek the professional help that you need to work through your trauma, mate. So, mate, it's bullshit. I haven't been able to blow it up yet, but this is going to be amongst the top 5 mental health apps in the world. I truly believe it, Tonksy. And, mate, if you're listening, there is a whole heap of free programs available. There is a subscription if people wanted to support, but to be honest, that just gives you access to more programs. But the programs, the 5 free programs are full programs, and you're going to get all you need out of those 5 free programs for the time being. But there is another 20 other programs that are a little bit different, unique, that you could subscribe and go along. So, mate, that's ENCAPSULATOR. Dream big. By the way, Tonksy, this banner behind me, you might not be able to see it in the podcast, but there's a big writing on my wall that says dream big and it says 2027, and behind that is the New York skyline. And that's my manifestation, my visualization for 2027 to have an office in Manhattan overlooking New York. And I always tell everyone to dream big. And, of course, on this side of my room, I represent Australia, of course. Number 1, I'm a very proud Aussie. I've got Kick the Shit written up there on the wall too, which is my podcast. Anyone out there can find me on any fucking social media platform that exists, even Threads, which I don't use. But Danny Shannon, you can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and also Sober Squad, which is above me, is one of my big brands on Facebook as well. We've got over 160,000 followers. And lastly, I have a community group on Facebook with over 50,000 members, and that group pumps, man. So if anyone is ever looking for some support, or if you'd like to share your own recovery journey, join Sober Squad community, and you, as long as you tick all the boxes and you agree to the rules, because we don't want any predators in there trying to take people outside the group and ripping people off.
100%.
Because if you do that, you'll be barred straight away. But anyway, if you follow the rules and you stay within the platform, you can ask questions and be supported by 50,000 people, mate. So, bro, sorry I talked too much. I knew you were going to ask me that stuff. I've done 50 of these podcasts.
Mate, you're all over it. Look, you're all over it, mate. Yeah, and look, I'll throw all the links to all your social medias, the Sober Squad. I'll throw the encapsulator link in there also. It'll all be in the description. It'll flash up on the screen in the podcast, mate. But look, I just want to say, Dan, I can't put it to you enough, mate. You're a fucking inspiration to fucking so many people. You really are. I mean, I'm sure you get told that a lot, so I'm not going to make your head any bigger, mate. But look, you're a perfect example of somebody that can go from one end of the spectrum to the fucking complete other. You know, you can go from an absolute, if I can put it the worst way, you know, a bottom feeding junkie, to somebody that's fucking a leech, that it's to somebody that has built their own fucking app, doing all the great things you're doing, mate. You're a true inspiration, Dan, and it's been an absolute honour having you on the show, mate.
Do you know what, Tonksy? I've been so busy for the last 5 years. I've only just started to stop and smell the roses and hear that, man. And honestly, I don't know, just hearing you say that right now, wow. I have built an app. I don't know, bro. It's crazy. But anyone out there, don't ever give up, man. Like, I too gave up for a long time, and I thought I'd be a heroin addict for the rest of my life. And today, mate, I really, really do have a life beyond my fucking wildest dreams. If I made a list of all the things that I'd want when I first got clean in 5 years' time, I would have been ripping myself off, mate. It's nothing like I could have ever imagined, mate. So don't ever give up. And, mate, thank you so much for your kind words. It's so much love to everyone who supports me. You're a fucking legend, bro. Thank you.
No worries, brother. Guys, that is Danny Shannon. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it.